We are on page 25 of our old social studies textbook. And we are going to do number 1 on this geography skill builder. It says, how many culture regions are shown on the map? Please pause and see if you can figure that out. So the answer to this is 7 culture regions. So to do this, you first read the title, Culture Regions of the World. Then you read the legend. Once you've read the legend, you preview the map by matching the colors and symbols on the map with the colors and symbols on the legend. Now, each one of these colors on the legend represent a culture region. And there are 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 culture regions of the world. We are in our old geography book on page 422, and we have these maps here. One on Turkey, vegetation map. So talking about if they have deserts or if they have forests, what they have for like their greenery, if you will, or lack of. And then we have the Turkey climate map. We are going to be looking at the second question, which is, what is the average yearly temperature in Ankara? So we want temperature, and that means we're going to want climate. And this says Turkey climate map. So this city is going to be in Turkey. And we have one map that is showing temperature according to the legend. That should be the second thing you look at. So we're going to ignore the thing about precipitation. Precipitation is any type of like water, sleet, snow, hail, anything that's like water that falls from the sky. So let's look at the temperature one. Take a moment now and read that legend. We are going to be looking at Fahrenheit. The abbreviation for Fahrenheit is just F, a capital F. And so when we look here, we now need to start matching the colors on the legend with the colors on that map. And we are especially looking here at Ankara. It's got like an orange color around the star, because remember, that's where the city is. The city's not where the A is, the city's not where like the K is, it's right where the star is. And so we are interested in that orange color. And we're going to do this in Fahrenheit. And that orange color is 63 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So that should be your answer, 63 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. If you did Celsius, which is abbreviated with the capital C, it would be 17 to 20 degrees Celsius. Usually in the United States, we end up using Fahrenheit. So again, right there. We are doing both questions on 565. Question is, where in Kenya is the lowest land elevation? Followed by, how high is Mount Kenya? Pause and do these questions. All right, so I'll tell you the answers, and then if you don't get them right, I expect you to watch the explanation. Number 1 is east along the coast. And 2, 17,058 feet, or 5,199 meters, though I would probably say we're going to use feet in here. Okay, let's start with number 1. So the first thing we're looking at is the question, where in Kenya is the lowest land elevation? And we read the title first, Kenya 2001, followed by the legend, and we read the whole legend, we don't leave anything out. Don't forget this part. Remember, elevation is how high land is compared to sea level. And if we look here, our lowest land elevation in Kenya, which is located within these white borders, is green. We know that green on this map is the lowest elevation. And there's the green popping up. And that is east, kind of along the coastline here, which makes sense. So east, or you could say like east along the coast would be fine. Something around those lines. Number 2, how high is Mount Kenya? Now we've already read the title, you've read the legend, and you do see that mountain peak is a triangle. So here's a black mountain peak. It says Mount Kenya, and it tells you that it's 17,058 feet, and that would be your best answer. So that one, it just gives it to you. You don't have to do a range since it gives it to you right there. We are looking at page 487 in our old geography textbook, and we're going to look at number 1. In which 2 countries is Afrikaans spoken? So first we have to figure out which map we're going to use. And our first step is to read the title. So we have the Africa South of Sahara political map. We have population density of Africa and south of the Sahara, and languages of Africa south of Sahara. And this does talk about something being spoken, so I'm going to assume that's going to be language. Now that I've read the title, I'm going to read this very big legend, and that may take a while, so you'd want to pause and definitely read this if you haven't figured this out already. And now I'm going to take a moment and match up the colors and symbols on the map with the colors and symbols on the legend. And there's a lot to look at. Now, I am interested in Afrikaans, and I can see that that is going to be in this purple color. It says so right there. So now I'm going to go over to my map, and I'm going to notice where they have purple. Now the borders of these countries are very hard to see because it's not a political map, so it doesn't have to say the name of the country. And so the borders are like this white, and I can see the purple is actually in 2 countries because this purple sneaks over here into this other country. So now I had to figure out what those countries are called. That means I have to go to a different map. And that is going to be this political map over here. So if I look over here to get my bearings, I see that this country down here is at the tip, and the other country is just to the northwest of it. So I look over here at Africa. I look at the tip. That first country is South Africa. It is at the tip of the country, just like the other one was. I know South Africa is the name of the country because it's written in all caps and it's bold. And if I go northwest, I run into this country, Namibia, and it would be my other country. So those are your 2 answers. We are on page 679. And we're doing both questions. Number 1 is, what type of physical feature covers much of Western Australia? Number 2, in which sea does the Great Barrier Reef lie? So a physical feature could be anything like a plateau, a mountain range, a desert, something like that. Take a moment and answer that question. Please pause. All right, now that you've had a chance to pause, I'll tell you the 2 answers, and then if you did not get them right, I expect you to watch the explanation. Number 1 is deserts, and number 2, coral sea. So let's start with question 1. What type of physical feature covers much of Western Australia? So the first thing you do is you read the title, Physical Features of Australia. Then you're going to read the whole legend. Finally, you're going to match the colors and symbols on the map with the colors and symbols on the legend to get a nice little preview. Alright, so we know that's north, and that's east, south, west, so we're looking over here. And if you look over here on the west, you can see a whole bunch of desert. Like the outback is a desert. There's a desert, whole bunch of deserts here, and that's why the answer to number 1 is desert. Number 2, in which sea does the Great Barrier Reef lie? So we've already read the title, and we looked at the legend. The blue upside down triangles, or like the V's, are the coral reef. And so we look here, we see all those symbols. It says Great Barrier Reef, and that's in the Coral Sea. We are looking at page 508 in our old geography textbook, and we're going to do both of these questions. First question is, from what part of the African continent were most enslaved Africans taken? Second question, name 3 destinations of enslaved Africans. Pause the video, see if you can figure that out. Alright, so first thing you do is you read the title. African Slave Trade 1520 to 1860. Second thing you're going to do is you are going to read the legend. Brown arrow means slave trade route. Third thing you're going to do is you're going to match those colors and symbols on the map with the colors and symbols on the legend. Now, some of these colors and symbols are not told about. Like, I don't know what the green means or the purple. And so I kind of hate that those colors are on the map since they're not on the legend. But for these questions, it's going to be okay. So first question was, from what part of the African continent were most enslaved Africans taken? So we know that we're looking at the African continent, and we want to know if they were taken mostly from the north, the east, the south, or the west. And because all these brown arrows are coming from the west to other places, we know that west is the best answer. So the western part of Africa. The next question is, name 3 destinations of enslaved Africans. So according to this low-line map, the arrow that's brown says that that's where they're taking the slaves. It's the slave trade route. So we can see that there's arrows going to South America, so that could be one place. There's arrows going to North America, that can be another place. And there's even an arrow going to Europe. And so Europe, North America, and South America would be good answers for that. We are doing both questions on 725. One question is, how many people per square mile live on the islands of Kyushu and Shikoku? Number 2 is, which large island has regions with only 1 to 24 people per square mile? So pause, take a look at this map. All right, I'm going to tell you the answers, and then if they're wrong, I expect you to watch the explanation. Number 1 is between 130 and 520 people per square mile. You must have the label people per square mile, or you would get that wrong on the test. And number 2 is Hokkaido. So let's go through how to do that. Number 1, how many people per square mile live on the islands of Kyushu and Shikoku? So we have to first read the legend, Population Density of Japan, 2001. Then you have to read the legend. Ignore this side. Do this side because we're doing miles. Okay, now we have to match those colors and symbols on the map with the colors and symbols on the legend so we can get a nice little preview. Right, now we're going to combine our two colors. So here's our two islands that we're interested in. They are pretty much equally red and orange. So the orange, its smallest number is 130. And since we're combining them, the red's highest number is 520. So it's going to be 130 to 520 people per square mile. So about 130 to about 520 people per square mile live on these two islands in Japan. The next one says, which large island has regions with only 1 to 24 people per square mile? So we've already read the title and the legend, and we've already matched the colors and symbols on the map with the colors and symbols on the legend. Now we need to find a place with only 1 to 24 people per square mile, which is like a yellow color. And you can see it right up there in Hokkaido. And that's how you got that answer. We are doing the question on 129. We're actually just doing the first question. For what is most of Canada's land used? Please pause and try to figure that out. All right, I'll give you the answer, and then if you have it wrong, you need to follow along with the explanation. The answer is hunting, fishing, and forestry. So to do that, you read the title first. Land Use and Resources of Canada. Then there's actually two legends to read over. Once you've read both legends completely, you match the colors and symbols on the map with the colors and symbols on the legend. Then you see what pops up the most. And what I see the most is this green color. It's everywhere. And it stands for hunting, fishing, and forestry.